Okay, so today we're going to make an exterior. So that means we're making the outside of a house. So the first thing that I'm going to start with is I'm going to have some place to put my house. So I'm going to delete my cube. If you wanted, you could edit it to kind of squash it down, but I'm just going to hit X to delete that. And I'm going to go to Add or Shift A, go to Mesh, and I'm going to add a plane. Once I have my plane, I'm going to stretch it out a little bit because I want to make sure I have enough room for my house. So to do that, I'm going to go to the scale tool on the left toolbar. You can see once you click on that, you have all of these options, but I'm going to click kind of on the outside where there isn't a color, and I'm just going to pull out there. This will bring my plane out at the same rate on all sides instead of stretching it out on a specific axis. Okay, so now I've got a plane, I've got some place to put my house. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make one wall of my house. So I'm going to go to Add, Mesh, and I'm going to add a cube. You could also do Shift A, Mesh, Cube. And I'm going to pull it up so I can kind of see what I'm working with, make sure it's not hiding beneath that plane. And I'm going to use the scale tool to kind of smash that in to make it look like a wall. So I'm going to go to the scale tool. And I'm going to pull on this red or the x-axis to make it squish on the x-axis. I'm going to make it a little bit longer by pulling on this green axis or the y-axis. And I can see just like that, I have a wall. Pretty cool. So I'm actually going to make my life a little bit easier. Instead of doing this 4 times, I'm going to click on it, right click, and I'm going to go down to where it says duplicate object. When I do this, it doesn't look like it's done anything, but trust me, it's duplicated. Before I pull my mouse away, I'm just going to click because this makes the rotation easier because I don't have to worry about placing it in the right place. So I'm going to click on the rotate tool and I'm going to rotate on this blue or the Z axis until it looks good. If you want it to be exact, you can look over at this toolbar over here. Right now, I can see that it's the Z axis is at 93 degrees. If I want that to be perfect, I'll just put it at 90 degrees and that lines up. It's okay if it's not exactly perfect too. Okay, so next I'm going to use my move tool. You could also use G for grab, and I'm going to line it up. And I'm going to pull that to look like the edge of my house. So now I've got a corner where my 2 walls meet. Again, it's okay if it's not perfect. That's totally fine. And just like before, I can duplicate these 2 to make it a little bit easier. I could either click and drag my mouse to select both of them at the same time, or I could click and then select Shift on my keyboard to select both of them. Once I have both of them selected, I can right click and duplicate objects, just like I did before, but this time I'm duplicating 2 instead of 1. And I'm going to go to that rotate tool and line that up. Again, you can just eyeball it if you want. This one's pretty close. Or if you want to make it perfect, I can type in 90 degrees just to make that perfect. Okay, and as we can see, this looks pretty cool, but not quite a house. So I'm going to select both of these and use the move tool to to line this up. And it's okay if it's a little bit off, just try your best. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add a doorway for my house. Everything I've done so far has been in object mode. I'm going to switch to edit mode because I want to edit the faces of this wall to add a door. So I'm going to switch to edit mode. And I'm going to go down to this tool that we haven't touched in a while, and that's called the loop cut. The loop cut tool will make different cuts in my face or in this wall. So I'm going to make a cut here, and this looks like a pretty good door, but I'm going to add a couple because I don't want it to go quite up to the top. And this looks pretty good. I'm going to eventually cut away this face and this face to make my doorway. So you might remember when we go into edit mode, it gives us the option to edit the vertices, which we're on right now. I'm hovered over that now. The next one is edit mode, lets you edit the edges, but we want to edit the faces in edit mode. So I'm on this third option beside where it says edit mode, so I can delete the faces. So I'm going to get off of that loop cut tool, go back to the select box, make sure I'm on the face select tool, and I'm going to click this face and shift to select this face. This is going to be my door cutout. So I'm going to right click and delete. Oops, I've got too many tools open. I can't find that. There we go. My zoom toolbar was in the way. Okay, so I'm just going to delete faces. And it might look like it's still there. That's because it's on the other side. So think about if you have an origami or a paper cube, you can cut away one side, but the other side is still there. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to select that, shift to select the other face, right click, and delete faces. And when I do that, now I've got an open doorway, which is pretty cool. And when I switch back to edit mode, you won't see these loop cuts anymore. It'll be like they were never there. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch back to object mode. And there we can see it's gone. So I'm almost done with the mandatory stuff. So the walls, the door, the land for my house. I'm just going to add a roof. If you want to add any extra stuff after this, that's totally fine. But for this, I'm just going to add a roof. So to add a roof, I'm going to start by getting as close to a roof shape as I can. So I'm going to go to Add, Mesh, and I think the cone looks closest to a roof. So I'm just going to click on that. And I can move it up in space so I can see it a little bit better so it's not hidden by my house. Oh, I lost. I'll do that again one more time. So I'm going to go to Add, Mesh. I'm going to go to my cone. So before I move it, I'm actually going to pay attention to this little toolbar here. It might just look like this right here, but if you click on this little caret, you can open it up to see more options. If it's not showing up, or if you don't see it, delete the cone and try again. It should just look like this in the corner of your frame. So I'm going to open that up, and it says vertices 32. That's a lot of polygons, or a lot of vertices that create a lot of polygons. That's what makes our cone look round. So I'm going to click where it says 32, and I'm going to change that to where it says 4. Hit enter. And now we can see that our cone, oh no, go back. We can see that our cone has 4 edges instead of 32. So our cone now looks like a pyramid, which is pretty cool. So the next thing I have to do is I have to scale it up, and mine somehow has gotten a little rotated. So I'm just going to rotate that back to bring it back to normal. I could also use this right here to make it line up perfectly. And I'm going to maybe squash that down a little bit, but make the rest of it bigger so it can sit over top of my house. Oops. Just a reminder that edit undo button is always there for you. And I'm just going to use the move tool to place that over top of my house. I can see might still need rotated a little bit to get that to line up. And maybe make it just a tad bigger. There we go. And this looks pretty good. I could probably move that a little bit more just to, okay. And if you want, you could add trees, you could add anything you can think of, but this should be a pretty good house. You could add windows in the same way that we added the loop cut, or you could add a modifier Boolean tool just like we did with our interior. It's up to you. But once you've done this, you have created an exterior. So great job.